let's get across then those market moves with a focus on precious metals. And joining us, Peter McGuire from trading.com. Peter, welcome to Monday. Good to have you back on board. Okay, it's inescapable. Let's go straight to it then and what we've seen with those precious metal moves. It is something to behold. Mind you, I mean, we've been saying that as it's climbed to peak after peak. We've seen that with gold, even more so with silver. Was this inevitable?
Well, exactly, Andrew. I think it was inevitable, and there was no doubt that you see in Good Morning, Happy Monday. You know, any market this time last year, let's look at silver and examine it, $29, and it hit a peak of 121, all in a 52-week window. So that is, if that's not parabolic, I don't know what is. And then you mentioned in your prelim, 36% wipeout. And it's back around that, what is it on the screen, about 78. I think 70 will be a floor. You might get 75. Let's see how it trades in Asia today. And that was just a complete and utter washout. And then gold, very similar, not as severe, of course, but certainly a big correction. And I think this really demonstrated, if you haven't been across commodity markets and haven't traded them extensively, this gives you an indication how they operate. Copper was at 14.5 and it's now at 13.1. So yeah, it's very, very dynamic trading over the last month, Andrew.
So what do you expect and what do you see as the catalyst that we saw for that massive profit taking then? I mean, given how far it had run, clearly many were interested in taking those profits. Nonetheless, certainly the nomination of Kevin Walsh appeared to be a big trigger.
Yeah, exactly. Let's examine before you, in the sense of the taking profits. There was no doubt there's an inflection point when it comes to trading, and you look at all your technical indicators and you're looking at the fundamental analysis, and people can quickly change a position from long to short within a touch on the keypad. And I feel as though that what's happened, you've had a momentum trade as far as a sell-off, and people have really just packed in. So there's the first part. So, trading is both ways, and traditionally you make far greater on a pullback than you do on a rise. As far as Kevin Walsh is concerned, he was the one out of the four. He's got the role, and it's going to be, again, fascinating how he plays in. First off, when does he start? Does he start in May or beforehand? And secondly, how aggressive is he with President Trump in the sense of, rate cuts? Looks like inflation's moving in the right direction for the states. So again, it's a wait and see process. And I think Q1, the rest of this two months for Q1 and certainly Q2 are going to be very dynamic for the market, Andrew, leading up to 4th of July.
All right, we also saw producer prices on Friday as well, which came in hotter than expected. What effect did that have?
Oh, well, that'll naturally impact. I mean, you're talking about, the inflation side of it, and that will probably be a consideration, but you can't get away from the numbers. But the other side, of course, is that the overall momentum of the US economy has been very strong. You're looking at probably about 75,000 as far as job starts for non-farm payroll being released this Friday. So again, it's across the whole spectrum as far as data drops, and we'll just have to wait and see how they're, I suppose, inhaled to the market.
All right, how's this all playing out in terms of currencies? We did see some sharp appreciation there with the US dollar.
Yeah, you bet. It was at 96, Andrew, and I think it was probably going to see a 95.80 sort of handle if President Trump didn't announce, or was someone different to Walsh, or the other side of it was delayed a week. So the US dollar's bounced it back at 97.15. Currencies have come under a little bit, certainly movement, 18.50 for the 118.50 for the euro. You got a 154 approaching 155 handle for the yen. Pounds at 136. We're at about 69.65. So there's the storyline on that. Let's just see again where the US dollar trends over this first couple of days of trading. And I think that Asia is going to be relatively volatile today on the back of, naturally, the precious metal situation and the announcement of Kevin Walsh.
What are you seeing with the Aussie at the moment? Because naturally you'd see the Aussie come off as the US dollar rose, but clearly as we head into tomorrow, that key decision from the RBA, what are your expectations?
Well, 72% probability of a rate hike, Andrew. So there's the storyline. So if they do press the go button, it goes up. Then I think that's going to force more buyers into the into the Aussie. Where it's sitting at the moment, I got it on the screen here at about 69.45. it'll probably be back above 70. Again, maybe a little bit of that's already baked in, but I feel as though the Aussie's probably on a one-way trip at the moment, and that's north. And let's see how the RBA play. Maybe they don't raise rates, but by the temperament of what we're reading and as analysts forecast, I think it's going to be pretty much a yes.
And Pete, checking on crypto, Bitcoin continuing to fall. Technically,
Yeah.
What are the key levels we need to watch out for, do you think?
Well, I think 75 has got to be I've just got it here, that's 76, 171, Andrew. Let's look at a psychological of 75,000. If it breaks that, it's probably early 70s. But it's had, again, a big sell-off from that mid-90s all the way down. It's lost 20,000 or about 23% in the last week or two. So, yeah, that's pretty impressive and great mark short. XRP, very similar. So, again, let's nothing short of surprises. The first 4 weeks or 5 weeks into 2026, that is, I just, you scratch your head and just go, wow, it's just been so exciting. And there's the chart. That shows you in a week, Andrew. That's just incredible. That's about probably a 17% move to the downside in a week.